Truth Talkers. Welcome back to another episode of Teatime Truth Talk with your host, Alicia, and of course, my father,
Rev Rich.
And as always, we have another great episode for you today. But before we get to that, as always,
make sure you subscribe, like, share this out, hit that bell so you know when videos are dropping. And again, our subscription is growing, so keep inviting more and more of your friends to watch not only this episode, but all our videos on this channel.
Well, speaking of all our videos of this channel, today we have a person who actually watched one of our Sunday lessons and have a question about it. So the topic for today is, or the situation goes as this. I watched your Sunday lesson and remembered you talking about a complaint-free world. But my question is, what is complaining about, and how do we get people to stop complaining?
That's a good question. You guys complain too much.
Well...
And I joke, but you know what? That complaining transcends ages. But you're right. The first thing we have to do is define what exactly is complaining. So.
I'm afraid. He keeps looking at me.
Well, if we go by the dictionary, to define complaining means to express grief, pain, or discomfort. Mm-hmm. So something's going on, and we got to let you know it's going on. Okay.
Now to spill the tea.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand that. But, you know, so the person that I'm going to talk about today, William Bowen, wrote a book called The Complaint-Free World. It's actually a book. And I mean, when we talk about someone who's made some strides in this, he not only has been hosted on Oprah and Dr. Oz, but, and this one's a good one for especially our community, he gave the 1 millionth band, and I'll talk about the bands later, to Maya Angelou.
Really?
He gave her a plaque with the 1 millionth band to Maya Angelou as the 1 millionth recipient of a Complaint-Free World band.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that.
Yep. So this isn't something new. This isn't something that we just pulled out of. It's something I've practiced for years, or at least tried to. But when we talk about complaining, it's literally that. We want to express grief, pain, or discomfort. And we find somebody and it's like, you know what happened to me today? And blah, 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 blah. And you have no control over it. Which brings us to another definition. What is not complaining?
Oh boy.
Okay. So not complaining is speaking directly and only to someone who can resolve the issue you are facing. So the example he gives is, if there's something wrong with your food at a restaurant, tell the server. Don't complain to the person you brought with you. Okay? Or if your computer freezes and you call tech support, you're getting support. Not telling everybody else that your computer is not working, because complaining doesn't fix your computer. So now we can replace computer with love life, drama, everything else. So complaining is expressing those things. But when we talk about it in a situation where we're not complaining, I'll give you an interesting question came up recently, was, okay, so I'm seeing a therapist, I'm seeing a counselor, I'm seeing whoever, and I'm telling them about my problems. Is that complaining? No. Because that person is there to help you fix you. So in reality, they are someone who can support your problem.
So then I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
What is there a difference between complaining and ranting?
No. See, the point is, and this goes a little bit deeper, and you've heard me tell you this, and I've told your mom and everybody here in the house. When we complain, we're using our energy. Whether you want to call it physical energy, spiritual energy, whatever it is, you're using your energy. And when you're complaining, normally you're bringing up an anger. And if you're angry, you're burning energy that could be used for a positive thing. But here's the problem. As you rant and rave and blah, 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 and you're wasting this energy, something that you can't get back, you're, how do I say it? you're allowing yourself to be exhausted. And that's literally what the word means, to exhaust, to blow out. You're blowing your energy out for no reason, because at the end of that rant, what did you do? In fact, William Bowen said it best. He says, if venting was such a great thing, then why aren't we all happy right now?
What?
Yes, I love the mentors I pick for myself are the ones that will make you do exactly that. When I first read it, so we laugh and joke about it, but trust me, if you buy into this, you could change your life. And I love the fact that I can do that with people that are friends with my daughter. I can do this with adults in my age group and people older, because you know what? Every day is a new chance to change. So we'll tell you about the challenge at the end. So yes, well, anyway, we'll talk about it at the end. So one of the other things I want to talk about is why people complain. And I think William Bowen put this together so well. And he uses the acronym GRIPE, GRIPE. Okay? And it sounds funny, but when we go through this, I guarantee you that you can think about somebody who fits into every category. And here's the caveat. If you can't, it's probably you.
Yourself. Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of.
Okay. So, the G in gripe stands for get attention.
Oh, no, I'm good. Okay.
A person connecting to other people is a basic human need. We know that. A person may complain to a coworker, friend, family member, or even a stranger in an elevator about the weather, local sports, or anything as a means to simply start a conversation. So he gives two examples I love. Isn't it hot for you? These 4 damn days in a row that this temperature's been over 90.
I don't like the heat.
So now if you really listen to what he's saying is, hello, please talk to me.
Lovely.
Okay. Or the traffic was lousy this morning. So again, now please complain to me about your commute so we'll have something to talk about. So the point here is that the first, like I said, the G, the first thing in gripe is get attention. They're trying to get attention for themselves. They feel that they're lacking in something. So you're trying to use, because again, if I really wanted to talk to you, does it have to be negative? Could I come with a positive statement?
No, yeah.
Hey, I like what you said. Or, hey, I heard you talking to somebody and I love the positivity that you exude. Where are you from? I can start a conversation. Why did it have to start on the negative? Because I'm looking to get attention. So let's have a game of this. So next time you hear somebody try to do that, I want you to go to that person and goes, well, what's going right with the weather or the traffic or whatever you're complaining about?
Huh. No, I'm going to have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody come to mind or...
we just gonna keep that down.
All right, so we said the word is gripe, and this is one of my favorites. You've heard me talk about this over and over again. So the R in gripe stands for remove responsibility. When given a task, people complain about the conditions surrounding the task as a way of getting off the hook. Their intention is to either get you to admit that the task is impossible or to prepare you for the fact that they're not going to do a good job. And it's an excuse making in advance of even attempting to do something. So let's look at the examples. I love his examples.
Oh boy.
I don't think I can fit that into my calendar. I'm so busy with all this extra work the boss keeps dumping on me. I'm overwhelmed as it is. It's not fair.
Listen, when you don't really want to do something, it's a great excuse.
It is. Because the translation of that is, I'm not going to do what you're asking, and I'm using my boss as an excuse.
Listen.
Or let's take it to the younger generation. Mom, Ashley just texted me. She said that our teacher, Mr. Jones, said the project has to be on yellow poster board and not blue. Mr. Jones is always changing his mind and he is never clear. It's not my fault, it's his. Mm-hmm. Any of you guys blame your professor or your teachers or translation? Mom, I wasn't paying attention when the teacher gave out instructions. Don't expect me to receive a good grade on this school project.
Well, Jesus.
It sounds harsh, but I've always been the person that says if you can dive deep into the true meaning of who you are and what you're doing, you can change your life perceptibly. You know, I joke about it, and your mother says I sound harsh, but what have I always told you? When people blame me for something, I accept that responsibility because then I control the narrative. There's nothing they can say, oh, it's my fault? Great, no problem, because now it's on me. And a lot of times it could be because we don't think of responsibility a lot of times as truly what we need to do. Because think about it. Me and my partner can argue over finances, and maybe it was the partner's responsibility to take care of finances. And I can blame that partner all day, but could have I taken over the finances and fixed it myself?
Yeah. Yeah, you could have.
If I'm dating someone and that person is abusing me, and I sit here and I complain to you about my love life, but I never told that person.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Are we going to keep the names under wraps?
Okay, I didn't mean to push any buttons, but I'm just saying. Sometimes we need to look at the responsibility from our own type. This is why I say sometimes when we can't name someone else, it's us. So, next time somebody comes to complain to get rid of that responsibility, I want you and you to go ahead and tell them, if it were possible, how might you have done it?
And then do it.
Exactly.
Answer, yeah.
Getting a little nervous now, or? And I hope you're really paying attention, because trust me, this has changed my life a lot. I'm not perfect, trust me, but when I do catch myself, I remember these things, and I realize that my vocabulary changed. So let's talk about the I. Ready? Ready? This one, you're going to love this one. Ooh, you're going to love this one.
No, it's time to go.
To inspire envy or to brag.
Oh, boy.
We complain about people who are not like us as a way of making ourselves seem superior by comparison. And we complain about things and events as a way of impressing people with our high standards. I just want to hold my pinky out at this point.
A little fancy.
Exactly. But all jokes aside, so some of the examples he uses is, yeah, Cheryl's team did a good job. So, I mean, you can think about this from a job perspective, or even if you ever were part of an organization that used teams, whether in college or high school, doesn't matter. Yeah, Cheryl's team did a great job on the project. Well, more of an okay job, actually. They were 2 weeks behind on delivery, and I can't believe they let that computer virus slip through. What she's actually saying is, my team would have done things on time and better. Why? Because I'm a better manager than Cheryl.
Well then.
Okay. Or, and I know a lot of you worked through this one because I get this conversation a lot. You thought that was a good movie? You've got to be kidding. The acting was stiff, the story was weak, the music did nothing to move the plot along. And what are they saying? I know a lot about movies. You should admire me and let me tell you more.
Listen, I just fought the TV the other day.
But it is true. And again, this could be taken anywhere. You know, when I'm putting somebody else down, and we're going to get to that in another letter, but when I'm putting somebody else down, or I'm putting down a situation, is because I'm trying to show you that I can do things better. And if I can do things better, then I must be superior. And if I must be superior, I must be worshipped. Anybody come to mind? Okay.
We.
So again, I'm not doing this to start anything, but it's to begin observing, because if you've ever heard me talk about unity or the other part of my ministerial life, as I say, it's all about sharing to help other people better themselves. So I'm saying it now as we're in the middle of this right now, is that this is not here to impress you about what I know and what I've learned and how we can show we know better, which would fall into envy, but to show you that if you can spot that in somebody first, which is the kicker and the booty part, is that if you can see it in somebody else, I'm trying to keep it PG, okay? If you can see it in somebody else, it means it's inside of you.
Oh man.
But the second thing is, if you see it in somebody else, using, like in this case, he's going to give you two examples to the two examples he gave. You can use these things to help that person realize what they're doing and help them through the complaining. So, in the case of the leader, wow, you're a great leader and your team produces what they promise on every time. There's nothing more she can say, because that person's looking for more credos and you just ended it right there. Second one, you've seen a lot of movies. What's the coolest trend you've seen in movies recently? Again, allowing them to talk without being superior, like, oh my God, I must shut up and listen. No, I'm going to engage you. Now you're going to see that we're at the same level, because I could probably talk for hours on something else.
That's true. Before we go on to the next letter, my question then is, you said that, like, if we see it in someone else, there's probably a part of you that has it in you as well. How do we like fix that within ourselves? If that makes sense, because it's like we see it in the other person. We're more geared to help that person rather than help ourselves. So how do we do both in one stone? I guess is like kill two birds with one stone.
Well, technically, you can't. So I'll give you an example of my own life, and it really has nothing to do with this. Well, I guess it does, because we were doing a lot of complaining. So now that I fixed your mother and she knows how to act now,
there's going to be a thrown shoe somewhere from the great beyond.
And the funny part was, that was the reaction I was waiting for, because I made the joke. Choose life. But all jokes aside, what I mean by that is that I had to realize that your mother and I both had thoughts in our head based on our experience. And we talk about this, how our experience dictates who we are. And we came from different worlds. And it was like, the problem was that I was trying to fix your mother's prosperity. But the only way to fix her prosperity, in truth, was to fix mine and be the example. You know, and that's the same thing with this. If you're going to talk to somebody else about complaining all the time, but then the next conversation you have is complaining, how do you help someone else? Whereas even if you catch yourself, it's like, yeah, you know, Joe, okay. Yeah, you know, Joe's doing okay, he has some challenges, and leave it at that. You catch yourself. You know, nobody's perfect, it happens. But the point there is that before we can fix anyone else, we have to fix us. And usually the way we help someone else is by being the example.
True. It's very true. Okay, you can go on.
Okay.
There's going to be more questions, trust me, because I'm sitting here like, oh boy.
And that's what's important, because we want, like I said, this goes cross-generational. This is not an adult thing. This is not a teen thing. This is not an elderly thing. From babies who complain, you know. Now, of course, we kind of excuse the little ones, because they don't know yet.
They're still learning.
Right, but all right. So P. This is one of those again. Power. There is strength in numbers, and I'll share my own story with this one. People complain to build alliances with others who agree with them to increase their power. Sound a little bit about bullying, mean girls, things like that. Others will complain to get you on their side. Their complaints will seem legitimate, but if you look deeply, you'll see it's a ploy to gain power, and you're just another pawn that they're using to get on their side. So let's use some of the examples here. Jim is a good guy, but he's not supervisor material. Half the time he's late, and I don't think he's that smart. What is he saying? I want that supervisor job. So help me spread negativity about Jim because he's my competition.
Politics.
Mm-hmm. Let's take it to the younger generation. Dad, Scott and Megan are playing and they won't let me play, and they're using your hammer, and you told us not to play with your tools.
Snitch.
But what he's actually saying is, Dad, I feel left out. You're bigger than all of us. Please make my brother and sister play with me.
Aww. You don't understand. But at the same time, snitch.
Mm-hmm. But you know what the bad part about this is? And this actually falls into the bullying range, if you think about it. Hey, Alicia, look at the way those people dress over there. They're not wearing the newest fashions. And you and I, we want to be in that circle. We want to know, we know fashion. We know how to dress. We know that they don't know how to dress.
You raised me to not be a part of those people. I'm sitting here like, I know I'm supposed to pretend, but then it's like...
Exactly, but it is the case. I'm looking to recruit you to my side by complaining about those people over there.
No, you're right, because you know what? I love you all, if you know who you are, but I gotta throw out that example because that just got me here, where you have your girlfriends who will complain about exes, even though you're friends with the ex, but then you'll hear all the negativity and you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't.
But that doesn't happen just in whatever you're talking about. It happens just in general.
Yeah.
Think about it. All men are dogs.
Oh, yeah.
All women are bad. You know what I'm saying? That's a general. But again, if I want, so I have your mother and I are fighting. And I joke and we talk and we try to be open in our home, But if I came to you and be like, Alicia, I'm always taking care of you and stuff. Your mom, man, she never takes care of me. She doesn't cook. She doesn't do nothing. What kind of wife? You see, you don't want to be that kind of wife. You want to make sure you take care of your...
So afraid there's going to be a shoot.
But again, that's what power is. It's about me trying to get you onto my side of things so that we now can gang up on somebody, which is now where the bullying comes in, so that person feels bad. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that comes in. So again, like you said, relationships. It could be a job. It can be a group. You were part of Interact. You were part of that. How many groups was I in? And it's like, you know what, Alicia, we need to gang up because that person there that's supposed to be taking care of this isn't doing it. We can do a better job, blah, blah, blah. We should go get Sally over there, get her over here too, let her know. And we go complain to Sally. And then we come over here and we're going to tell Joe over here to come with us because Joe knows how bad things are with those people. And that's what it is. It's about gaining power.
This poor club. Jesus, I'm so glad it closed down. Then my question is, can it be in reverse?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Then.
Well, explain just because I mean.
No, like you mentioned Interact, and then you flooded everything with just this one letter. But in reverse, it was everyone came complaining about the certain adults that were supposed to help with us leading the club, and they kind of ganged up on me complaining about those people to take their side that I can lead them to leave the club.
Well, that's exactly the same thing. The only difference was I came to you, whereas they, in turn, found the target to try to convince you.
Yeah.
Because by you leading, they get their power. Yeah. If you think of politics, the people that gang up and say, we want this person to represent us, and all of a sudden they're throwing all this negativity and shade and all that stuff at the other politicians. Why? Because they want the power to say, I got somebody in office that I wanted.
This is definitely not a teen adult thing because I've had adults do it to me too. I don't like this. This is too accurate for me.
And then I like he does put I like this. He says silence the complaints. There's an old saying that says when two gorillas are fighting in the jungle, stay out the jungle.
Yeah.
When somebody complains to get you on their side and gain power over someone else, refuse to get involved. Put the problem right back in their hands. And what his suggestion is, next time that they come to you and be like, yeah, Joe, blah, 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 you should say, it sounds like you and he or she has a lot to talk about.
By the way, we're not actually naming someone named Joe. That's just a random name.
Yeah, it is.
Because I don't want any Joes coming for me and be like, you talked. No. No. It was just one of the names that just popped. I had another question. I forgot it. No, it'll come back to me.
And he also talks about setting up a meeting between the two of them. In Unity, we call that triangulation. That's when you complain to someone else rather than come to talk to me about the problem that you and I have. So if that person is enlightened, we'll say, that person will say, well, hold on, let me get you and let me get you together. Let's get you guys talking. I'm out of here.
I'm out. Peace. Right. Now, my question, I just remembered.
Okay.
What happens if you, because you also mentioned how it's like, you say to stay out of it. What if you are like put in it, even though you said you stayed out of it, and it's like your name still gets thrown in the mix, even though you were nowhere near the situation. The drama's here, and you're all the way over here, but somehow you end up right back in the middle, even though you're out there somewhere, not even paying attention to what's going on. That's happened to me a couple times.
That's all right. You have to ask, what part do you have in that? Because if exactly, because see, think about the triangulation part of it. So they're not complaining to you, but they're complaining in a way that involves you. Because they're actually complaining about the job or whatever's happening on this side of the table. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you need to take yourself out of the triangle.
I don't want to be in the triangle.
Exactly. So you need to go, well, me personally, you know how I like to talk. My thing is, I am flattered that you think I can solve the issue, but it sounds like there's an issue between you and them. Let's have you guys talk before anything else happens.
Yeah.
Okay. We had that recently without naming anything where we were, we may have been a part of a solution. But that solution didn't come around because instead of us diving into it, we said, you guys make your decision and then call us in. Why? Because we knew that there were two sides to that story and that we didn't want to be involved in the mess. But if those two sides came together and say, okay, we're ready to start anew, we would have jumped in full-heartedly and helped out. But it got us out of that triangle. Mm-hmm. So that's what's important with that one. Are you afraid of E? Is that what it is?
A little bit.
All right.
A little bit. Not gonna lie. It's been scary so far.
So we said R was to remove responsibility, right?
Uh-huh.
E is to excuse poor performance.
Oh boy.
So, excuse poor performance is the past tense version of remove responsibility. Both are about letting you off the hook. But when somebody complains to remove responsibility, they are telling you why they are either not going to do something you ask, or they're going to fail and it's not their fault. But when someone complains to excuse poor performance, they have already failed and are complaining to justify what happened, and as before, it's not their fault. So here's your examples. I know I said I'd bring some home salad stuff, but I got caught up at work with some of Jim's last minute nonsense, and it just made me forget. So when we translate that is, I'm blaming my forgetfulness on something totally unrelated, but if you buy it, I'm off the hook. Or, I tried to get the report in on time, but I didn't get the members from the accounting department the numbers from the accounting department soon enough. And you could replace that with, I didn't turn in my report because my partner didn't get me the information in time. Or I didn't turn in my project because the teacher didn't give me enough time to do whatever. It all fits into the same thing. And what they're actually saying is, I actually waited to the last minute to ask the person in accounting, professor, whatever, for what I needed. But technically, they didn't get it to me, so it's their fault, not mine.
Yeah, procrastination is one thing.
So a person complaining to excuse their poor performance has already messed up and not done something you've asked. If you start asking well, why didn't you think of this, or why didn't you plan for this? He or she is going to defend their poor performance. So that's just going to continue the complaining. But if you turn it around and say, okay, you didn't get it done, it happened, that's great. How do you plan to improve it the next time?
Yeah. Because I was just about to ask about the first scenario where it's like, okay, because there are times where it's like, there's times where you're supposed to do something after work, or like you're supposed to do something afterwards, but you do get caught up in situations.
Right. But then that's the difference. I got caught up in something. I got a call from work. And I started to think about that, and I forgot.
Gotcha.
It wasn't the job that caused it. It wasn't the call. I forgot. You know, so-and-so stopped me, and they started talking to me about something, and I grabbed all the important stuff, but I know you asked me for something extra, and I forgot what it was, and I got home. So it's not their fault. It's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that we say, take your responsibility. In fact, I think it's not next Sunday, but the Sunday after with Reverend Dr. Hasselback, he's going to talk about radical responsibility and how taking that responsibility for yourself actually empowers you, doesn't make you look weak. You know, the more you fight against something, the more you complain about something, to me, you look weak because you can't stand in your own ground. Whereas I'd rather be like, sure, it's my fault. The moon has an extra hole in it. Yep, that was me. You know.
Gosh, darn it.
So, all right, ready for some trivia?
Aww.
You're going to like this one.
Oh, no.
Who complains more, men or women?
I plead the fifth. I don't know everyone.
What about you guys? Who complains more, men or women?
Do I have to legitimately answer between those answers?
Whatever you think your answer is, doesn't matter.
Technically, I say both. But then there's times where it's like women do complain more.
So is your answer women complain more?
I don't know.
You're not getting graded. So, I mean...
High school trauma. Always getting the straight A's. No. No. Everyone complains equally. Because I've had a fair share of men complaining and a fair share of women complaining all the time.
You should have stayed with your first answer because it was true.
Women complain more?
No. Everyone complains equally. There is no statistic that says men or women. But I guarantee you, if you ask men, they'll say women. If you ask women, they'll say men.
Yeah.
But in reality, statistically says it's almost a dead heat. Men and women complain equally because it's not a gender measure. It's a human nature not to be wrong. Yeah.
I was partially right. Just tests just scare me.
So we talked about a few things.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to take you through an exercise, and you don't have to answer it. You don't have to say anything on. Well, we'll say question number 1 and question number 4. We won't say out loud. But I want you guys at home to do this as well. So who complains to you frequently? Go ahead and write it down for yourself.
That's a nice picture frame.
All right. So do you at least have someone in mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Based on what you've learned, and this goes for you as well, what is this person's real reason for complaining to you? So based on what we just talked about, what is the person's real reason for complaining to you? Is it A, to get attention? B, remove themselves from responsibility? C, inspire envy? D, power? Or E, excuse poor performance? That kind of worked out.
Ha ha. I would have to say A, B, and E.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. So, now that you know that, what might you say to him or her to silence the complaint?
Shut up. No, I'm kidding. Oh, God.
So, if it's, you said, which ones did you say?
I said, get attention, whatever B was.
Remove themselves from responsibility?
Yes.
And excuse poor performance?
Yes.
Okay. So, what's going well with whatever they're complaining about?
Yes.
If it were possible, how might you do it? And then finally would have been, how do you plan to improve next time?
Yeah.
So your plan of action is, this is for you guys as well, whenever blank complains to me, I will say, and in that one, because it can fall around any category, this is for you to write down. And again, this is not a test, nor it's not whatever, that you have to do it. But the point of this exercise, real quick, is to get you that next time that person that you thought of comes to you, you can actually test these things out and see if it works for you. And if it does, then you now know that anybody who comes to you, you can find them in this gripe thing and how to,
I'm gonna write this down on my arm so next time somebody comes to me and be like, wait, I can look at my notes. Feel like I got this. We're gonna do this first. See what happens.
So yeah, so basically, if you see Alicia, she's wearing a purple band. And it's called the Complaint Free Challenge. It's 21 days. And basically, and I'll let her talk about her experience later. And I went through this, and I have to do it again for myself. But basically, you wear this band on your hand, kind of like I'm wearing my bracelet. Yeah. And anytime you complain, now, just to clarify, complaints are pretty much spoken. So if you complain in your head,
oh, thank God.
If you complain in your head, it's not technically a complaint, but it is proven that the less you complain in spoken, the more positive you are mentally. So, if you want to be part of the challenge, we do have a few bracelets. You can reach out to Alicia on it. Yeah. If you don't want the bracelet or you're too far away to get a bracelet, I mean, I can nail it if worse comes to worse. You can use anything. You can use the bracelet, you can use a rubber band, you can use a hairband, anything that you can switch back and forth. So basically what's going to happen is you're going, this day one, I put my bracelet on, I start driving somewhere and all of a sudden, it's damn traffic, blah, 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 blah. I complained. I now have to take it off this wrist, put it on this wrist, and we start day one all over again. Oh, and we do this for 21 days. Now realize what I said. It's not just for 21 days. You have to do 21 days in a row. So if you start day 5 and you went to Starbucks and you ordered that Sumatra with the almond milk and the Splenda and you got somebody's Frappuccino by mistake, and you start to get mad, and instead of telling the barista that you got the wrong coffee, you start complaining to the world how Starbucks works, and you're already day 5, well, guess what? You're going to switch the bracelet, and you're day 1 all over again. Now, is day 1 bad? No. Because it actually teaches you how to catch yourself. Even William Boehm himself said it took almost 40 days before he started his full 21 days. I know for me, it took a long time before I could do 21 days straight. I think we had one person at Unity who actually went the full 21 days. One person. Out of all the people that participated, one person went 21 days.
It was not me.
Okay. So with that being said, I truly hope this helps. And again, younger brothers, younger sisters, share this with them. Older people, share it with them. Imagine a world that's complaint free, where we can take responsibility for our own selves. We don't complain. We only speak to the person of the problem we have and say, hey, we need to fix this. Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, I don't know if you can put the letters up on the video for them. But again, it's this is a poster that came with our work, and it's, get attention. Right. remove
responsibility,
inspire envy, power, and excuse poor performance.
Yeah.
Hope that helps.
It does. I only have one more question.
Sure.
What about when, because I know I thought of it, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you that think of it, because of course, especially when you're in marriage, in a relationship, or even with a friendship, when someone is upset and then someone asks if you are okay and what is going on.
There's an old joke when I first started learning to become a motivational speaker, and it says, you know how it feels when you go to say, hey, how are you doing? And that person starts vomiting at the mouth, and you just wish you could take it back and start shoving that how you doing back in your mouth. Yeah. Normally, if somebody asks you how you're doing, and you're about to start complaining, your best bet is going, I have some challenges, but I am doing well.
So what if they ask what those challenges are?
That's different. You don't have to complain about it. You can tell. Again, complaining is to talk about, is to, I guess, burst out, or
blurt
to
out.
Blurt out. Thank you. Blurt out. Thank you. Blurt out what it is that's bothering you. Mm-hmm. Now, as a minister, as a life coach, just who I am, if I ask you those questions and you tell me the issue, I came with the intent of helping you fix it.
Gotcha.
So it's not really complaining. I'm coming to you. You may have come to me as a minister or as a life coach and said, hey, I need help. You don't even have to say that. It's like, can I talk to you about something? Sure. Well, this is what's going on. Okay. If I could do nothing about it and you came with no intentions of looking for a solution, then you're complaining. But if you come to me and you just start venting on me, but you came to me with the intention, and we talk about intention all the time. You came to me with the intention was, well, maybe Richard can help me through something, whether it's ministerial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's, life coaching, helping me reach whatever it is. And you came to me with the intention of seeking help, then that's not complaining. Because again, you may come to me with a medical issue, and I may not be able to do nothing because I'm not a doctor, but maybe I can point you in the right direction, or maybe I can help you make some phone calls, or maybe when you vented, I heard something that says, well, let me ask you something and get you on the right track to alleviating that situation.
Okay. I think that is all the questions I can think of. I'll be later on in the night trying to sleep, be like, wait, I got like 5 more. No. But all in all, I hope that does help the person with the question about what complaining is and how to stop it. As well as, like he said, if you do want a bracelet, you can message us or me on Facebook. Or if you have my Instagram, you can find me there, and we will gladly bring one to you if you're close by, or if you want to come pick one up as well, or we can just mail you one as well. Either way, if you want to try it, I highly suggest to try it. I have swapped my bracelet 5 times, but I've gotten a lot better at it. So it does help, and I really highly request doing it as well, because I know a lot of you guys who are in college, who are with jobs, who are parents, things like that. I know there's a lot of complaining within all of them spectrums and other things as well. Relationships, friendships, all of that. But I do believe if you do try this and work your way through the complaint-free challenge, it will help and it benefit a lot of us and you as well. So, summarize again, gripe. Don't remember all the acronyms, but he's going to find it.
I mean, I know what they are, but I figured there's a cheat sheet.
Yeah. I'm going to learn it now that I know what it is. I just learned as much as y'all did. But, of course, G, get attention. R, remove responsibility. I, inspire envy. P, power. And E, excuse poor performance. Of course, come back to this video as many times as you want if you do get stuck and you're trying to figure it out, or you see it in someone else, knowing that you're doing it within yourself. The best way to do it is to work on yourself to become that example for someone else. And with all that being said, as always, we love you. Nothing you can do about it. And we'll see you next time.